Keith. This is Chris. Let's
Howdy.
dive right into topic one. One of the bands that I'm super stoked about for this year, releasing new music, is Philadelphia's Stolen Wheelchairs. It's a fast, in-your-face, caffeine-fueled, teenage-fronted hardcore from Philly. They have a new album coming out called The America, and they recently put out a single also titled The America. I saw these guys play at the Crankin' and Skankin' Festival, the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones Festival, the last one just before COVID hit, and they blew the doors off. I mean, they played the smaller indoor stage, but they crushed it. They have a sound that's kind of like early Bad Religion, a little bit Black Flag, Minor Threat. If you know them, The Unseen, like they sound very similar. But these guys you can tell they're just having so much fun, and they like incorporate an energy that can only be found in teenagers. Like you see like older hardcore bands and they still have like energy and they're still angry, but they just don't have that teenage energy. And these guys are just crushing it. I'm so excited for this album.
Just bleeding angst, man. Yeah.
And they have like a song called No Decaf, which me working third shift, that's like my theme song, man. I drink a lot of coffee, so to have like a fellow coffee aficionado, it's awesome.
It's great, man. I mean, I checked them out, in anticipation of the show today, and I gotta say, I miss Crankin' and Skankin', but it's kind of interesting we're starting off with this band before because I'd never heard of them before, and I've always kind of appreciated punk rock and hardcore almost a little bit from afar. Like when I first started going to shows, my second ever show was Sick of It All, Ensign, and a couple of local hardcore bands.
Oh, that's awesome.
And slowly over time, as I started transitioning, to playing in more ska bands, it kind of fell by the wayside for me a little bit. But I've always enjoyed it, from afar. And I miss Crankin' and Skankin' just because my schedule was a little too busy. But it's kind of interesting because you love these guys, and we're starting off with a band I've never heard of before, and then we're covering a band that we both kind of know, and then at the end of the show we're covering what's essentially my favorite band of all time. So there's a nice little progression we have going here. But for what I was listening to, it just sort of sounds like you're right. It's what's called bleeding energy, and it's something I'd expect to hear in this dumpster fire of a year of 2020 we've had. If there's something that's going to really kick your ass and inspire you to do something, it's these guys, Stolen Wheelchairs, as ableist as that name sounds. But yeah, man, it was cool. I really look forward to seeing them live once all this is over. Single America was awesome. Can't wait to hear the rest of the record whenever that's going to drop. Do you know when that's going to drop offhand?
Oh crap, I forgot to write it down. I want to say it's the beginning of November. I want to say we only have like 3 or 4 more weeks until it's coming out.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
They have pre-sales up on their website with all sorts of merch. I got myself a t-shirt. I was hoping it'd be in by now, but it'd be fun to just be like, Stolen Wheelchairs right there.
Well, there you go. When we do episode 4, you'll be ready to remind everybody that it's out now. And there you go. But yeah, man, it's just, I've missed that energy a little bit, because the world is so fucked up right now in so many ways. You need something to sort of, inspire you not to just curl under the covers and just try and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's something I've missed about hardcore. That's sort of like I'm gonna go out there and kick the world's ass kind of attitude. I'm really excited to see those guys. Wish them nothing but the best.
Definitely, same here. All right, topic 2, more new music. Less Than Jake had a new album single.
Less Than Jake.
They put out Silver Linings is due out December 11th. But they just released a new single, Lie to Me. And that's been all over social media, all over their Facebook. And it's the first full-length album from them in 7 years, which was, the last one was 2013, See the Light on Fat Wreck. And their first new music since 2017's EP, Sound the Alarm.
Go ahead. So they've had a few, smaller releases in the middle there. I actually was kind of surprised. Like I kind of fell off the Less Than Jake train, a number of years ago. And again, just as it was nothing that the band did. Less Than Jake is a band I think sort of found their sound. They found their niche, and they just sort of been riding in that groove ever since. They kind of like, some bands, will sort of, be a jack of all trades. And then there are other bands that just sort of find their thing and then refine that to the purest form of what that is. And, that's sort of been like what I'd say, for me, my Less Than Jake albums were Losing Streak, Hello Rock View, maybe Borders and Boundaries at the tail end of, when I was really actively listening to the band. But, one of the things I think that you'll agree with is just listening to their output since then, or I guess since Anthem, I guess, which was, I guess, their biggest commercial success. A lot of the records have sort of seemed at the same beats, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what's called the catchy ska punk tunes, or catchy, the blistering punk tunes, or angsty and energetic. They just sort of hit their groove. They have a real talent for delivering hard hitting, tough material in a way you go out and really enjoy.
Yeah. And in a way that, like, if you saw them live, you're going to be dancing. Like, it's going to move you. Like, it's just a tremendous energy in what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's hard. You can see their fingerprints everywhere too. Like, you look at bands like, we talked about Kill Lincoln a couple weeks ago. I think they're they're one of the biggest influences. We Are the Union's another one. I think you can see their fingerprints on. Local band from here, High School Football Heroes, huge Less Than Jake influence in their music, and it's just one of those things. Like, you just sort of they found a niche and they filled it, which is I think really cool. And they sort of turned their name into a verb. It's like, oh, this is a Less Than Jake song. It sounds just like Less Than Jake, and kind of what you're getting. You're getting the the tight, polished horns on top of the really well-toned guitars, and the verses and choruses that are full of harmonies, a little too full of harmonies in my opinion sometimes, but that's just me. But it's 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 a known quantity, and I think that it's reassuring that there's still somebody out there making great ska punk music day in, day out. They get it done, as it were.
Totally agree.
The new record, it sort of sounded very much in their wheelhouse, or at least the single they dropped so far. I mean, it's kind of like what I was missing a little bit. I'd say with Anthem, they sort of or maybe I'm trying to remember which one had She's Gonna Break Soon on it. I think that might have been Anthem, or no, it was Anthem. It was called. I think it was on Warner Brothers, I think, and there was a point where they removed horns from that song for the single recording, just I guess for the video, and then they put them back on when the record came out, which was kind of weird.
Yeah,
one of those weird focus group tested things that most ska bands will never have to deal with in the year 2020. And I mean, I guess that's the hallmark of success. I guess if the studio hands you notes, you take the notes. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't in the room, but it's. I always like myself some Less Than Jake, and I know that the other guys have some projects. Like, I mean, Roger's got Rehasher that's out there playing, fast punk rock. Chris DeMakes does the Skago solo thing every once in a while with JT from ASOB and Sprout, and what's his name for Catch 22? Shit. Gonna get an angry letter later. Ryan Eldred.
Yes, that's
Ryan
right.
From Catch 22 does the solo thing as well. So, I mean, it's good that the guys all come back together.
There's the Coffee Project. The trombone player plays with a guitar player. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but it's fantastic. It's just literally like an acoustic guitar and a trombone, and I love it. Like, I can't get enough Coffee Project. Again, coffee.
Very cool. I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, they have a couple of albums. I want to say the last one came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they're all just fantastic. It's not punk at all. It's very mellow, but the horns is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
As like
I'm very curious to see how they sound live now. Sorry.
As like an aspiring trombone player, I pay a little more attention to the trombone now. So when I found that album, I've been obsessed with it because the sound and the tone in the trombone play so awesome against the sound of the acoustic guitar that I love it.
Oh, it's a great pairing. I mean, you got two instruments that are roughly in the same register, at least at the core of their sounds. that's no, it's cool. I'll have to ask you to send me that later. I've never heard of it.
Hmm.
I was
Will
actually
do.
kind of curious to see how they've sounded, with the new drummer, at least on tour. I know that Vinny is, still a part of the band, is still in the studio, still part of the writing team. But I was curious to see, if there've been any, real changes, live. But I guess no news is good news. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, man, I'm gonna look forward to actually listening to this Less Than Jake record when it comes out. I've been, off to my thinking, yeah, I think, I think it's about time I get back into it. So
Yeah,
looking forward
I'm
to
gonna
it.
give it a shot. I'm gonna play it. All right. So the last topic before we get into our interview with Stop the Presses is one that's a little
Yes.
closer and near and dear to your heart. So I'll let you take it.
Yes, sir. Okay, so the band Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, they've been around since the mid '80s, and they're a band that's sort of like the complete opposite of Less Than Jake, in that whereas Less Than Jake has their lane, and they beat the hell out of that lane. Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra is more of like a jack of all trades kind of band, where they could play the phone book, man. I mean, they started off as more of a traditional based ska band in the late '80s, and they've sort of done a lot of different experimenting throughout their 30-year career. They're one of the most prolific ska bands ever. They've got something like 20, 25. I'm not even sure how many, 22, 23 studio albums now.
Wow.
Countless singles, 7 inches. They have multiple DVD live performances. They're a band that has like 3 best of compilations over the course of their year, broken up by decade or
Wow.
by era of the band. I mean, I was exposed to these guys I saw them for the first time in 2004. I didn't even know who they were. I just, I had a friend that was going to the show. I was working as an intern at New York Presbyterian Hospital, and I had a really rough day. And I heard, just come out to the show and blow off some steam. And they blew me away. They were just what's called, I had no idea what to expect, and I left there, with a new favorite band.
That's awesome.
And so for me, I've sort of made it my a little mission of mine, to see them whenever I can. I've been lucky enough that my band, The Pandemics, has opened up for them twice in New York City over the
Nice.
last, number of years, or 4 or 5 years or so. Actually, wow, 6 or 7 years, actually, now I think about it. But it's been interesting to see how they've developed, because they sort of hit, at least from an outsider's perspective, and I say outsider as in someone not from Japan. So there's a little bit of a language barrier when I pick up on these things, but it seems that at one point, maybe I'd say around 2003, 2004, they sort of realized that they could sort of build albums around singles, and they could bring in guest vocalists from other popular projects to be the vocalists on these singles. So what happens is, a lot of times what they'll do is, over the course of a year, they'll release 2 or 3 singles, and with full music videos, and they'll use those as teasers to build up the new album, and they'll drop the new album a couple months later. And so it's really cool, because one of the things that they do, in addition to touring the world, because that's the other side of this too, they don't just stay put in Japan. They go to the US, they go to Europe. They have had a lot of financial success, I think, in Mexico and South America. So they've been playing those places a lot in the last few years. Like, they have a yearly gig in Mexico City. I think I remember hearing them playing the Pepsi Arena or Pepsi Center down in Mexico City. It's like a 6,000 person capacity place, and they sell it out like
Really?
routinely. Yeah, I mean, and it's look at it this way: they're a Japanese instrumental ska band playing to sold out arenas in Mexico, Brazil, you name it. And it's weird, because nowhere on paper should that work, but it does, and they make money doing it, which is incredible. But just in terms of raw musical talent, I'm floored every time I see them. I just love them to pieces. So this is the most recent song, and it's kind of interesting. The records they've been doing, especially during COVID, they've been kind of restricted in a way. Like, their last 2 records, the last 2 videos. This one, most recent one, The Great Conjunction, or Great Conjunction 2020. It sort of seems like they're built on like a set of self-imposed challenges. This one's like, all right, we've got this club, we've got these goldfish, and this band in a suit and some lights. What can we do? All right, we got a video. We're good. just a team with a vision, and it's good. And then there was another one, you know, they said like they put out a video. There's like, all right, well, we got a tricycle, a green screen, and about 3 hours of CGI animation. What can we do with it? And there's a song Hammerhead, and put out a video.
That's so funny. That seems like they had like a wheel and they just spun the wheel and that's what they got, you know? Like,
kind of seems like it.
you know,
But
like
it's
weird cooking shows where they're like, your special ingredient today is a tricycle.
Yep. And, you know, between doing this, they're one of the most active bands I've seen during the pandemic, you know, because they can't be playing. Well, they're actually starting to do live music again in Japan. They've been doing it for a couple months now. Not with the same restrictions they have here. But they're doing, you know, not touring, but they're doing limited showcases. But in addition to, you know, being able to do that, they've been doing a lot of, you know, socially distanced concerts, fan live stream stuff. They're doing one for fans in Mexico, actually, I think next week.
Really?
Which I guess you can stream anywhere in the world if you wanted to. They just did another one called World Paradise Ska. Yep. They just did another one called World Paradise Ska, which was, you know, they used Premiere, a song that is being used as the theme song for this, what looks like a combination or a cross between Voltron and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like a live action TV show, but, you know, yeah, guys dressed up as, you know, robot ninjas fighting each other. It's weird. But there's this new song. I can't remember the name of the show. I'm gonna have to look it up later. I wish I'd written this down. You can find it on YouTube.
I'll find it. We'll put the link right down here. And because that's hitting on some notes. Like Voltron, Yu-Gi-Oh! I could get on board with that. Ska.
Yep. But that's the, you know, the beauty of also their albums too. And it's just, you know, like the singles with like the guest vocalists or whatever have you. They've, you know, all of their records sort of have, at least since like the late 90s or so, sort of seemed like they pick like one or two directions, things they want to experiment with. Like their last record had a ska/metal song on it, which was really weird. They've done songs like that dip into disco territory. Lots of jazz, lots of funk, lots of they do what's called on record too with a dub song on it. They've had a whole record of dub mixes that was like released as like a special compilation a number of years ago. I think it's Just a Records Presents. Sorry, I'm running off at the mouth here. You can.
That's all right. Like that's kind of why I wanted to let you run with it, because like I know this is in your wheelhouse. This is like something you're excited about. Like at the top of the show, I was very excited about stolen wheelchairs. You're returning the favor, buddy.
There we go. But yeah, man, it's just like they kind of embody this, like, you know, at least to me, the idea of the perfect band. You know, they're musically tight. They all, you know, dress really sharp, and it's just something they put a level of commitment into it that you don't see at a lot of the bands. And, you know, they've been at this for, you know, 30 years now. They're all pushing 60, and they're still out there fucking slaying it, which is, you know, incredible for, you know, a band that's been out there this long doing that, playing, like I said, instrumental ska music for the most part. And I can't recommend it highly enough to anyone that has, you know, the time and the energy to go search them out. All their stuff is finally up on Spotify and Google Music and Amazon. It wasn't for like the longest time. It just came out like last year, and they finally got it all up there. And do you have any idea how much money I spent on importing CDs over the last 20 years? I could have bought a new used, not a new car, but a new used car. It would have been good. Like seriously, at like $40 a CD, you know, it adds up. There's like
real fast, especially when you're saying they got like 25 CDs plus all the singles.
Oh yeah.
Well, make sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a friend that lives in Tokyo who helped me out with a couple of the vinyl releases, and it's even those go for like $45, and then you have to pay for shipping. It's an expensive proposition. It's like a on my birthday kind of thing. Like that's the only time I can reach into that area. But yeah, it's an incredible band. I mean, actually, pick this up. Is it way up? Yeah. I went to go see them
awesome.
They made towels. When I went to go see them in Japan in 2010. Just absolutely incredible. I was on tour with another band in Japan and I made it a point to go see them on New Year's Eve. Like we got there for our tour, and it was going to be a 2-week tour. We got there the day before, 2 days before the tour started, just so I could nip in and see them like in Japan, because
that must have been amazing.
There are a lot of dance moves that we're not privy to in America at Japanese ska shows apparently. But yeah, man, they were incredible, and every time I've seen them since then, super nice guys. Like I said, a little bit of language barrier, but ska is a universal language, as it were. At least
yes, it is. All right. So we'll move on.
Yep. So next up, we've got our good friends in Stop the Presses.
Yeah. So I saw on Facebook, are you guys celebrating 10 years as a band?
We are.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Kind of a sad time to be celebrating, though.
It kind of is. Yeah.
So it looks like you got a big Halloween show coming up. Is that what's going on there?
We do. We just over the years, we love Halloween. So we've always thrown Halloween parties. And of course, this year the circumstances. And so we were like, you know what? We're just going to throw a live stream. We're doing it in our backyard, socially distant, just the band, and stream it for our fans and everything. And and celebrate.
It was always a tradition for us. We started doing them in I used to live with our old bass player in Miami 11 or 12 years ago, and we started out just in his living room doing Halloween shows / party, and they grew and got bigger, and we moved to a warehouse, and it went from 1 keg to 3 kegs, and we would just try. Yeah, it was $10 at the door, float the kegs kind of deal. And they were awesome. We'd get all kinds of crazy bands, and then they grew, and then we started getting side acts and comedians and jugglers, and up to one of the last big years was that we produced a 20-minute musical about the end of the world that I wrote, and Ali starred in with
Danny wrote a musical.
Yeah,
awesome.
The name of it's pronounced nuclear.
I'll say it again, babe.
It's pronounced nuclear. It was about the U.S. accidentally. Yeah, kind of. It was during the Bush era that he accidentally, through a computer error, detonated all the nuclear weapons in the U.S. just to fire in random directions. And it's up to this lazy stoner girl, her conspiracy theory loving neighbor, and a random scientist who gets thrown on the sidewalk in front of them to save the world. Can they do it?
That sounds incredible.
It was. The music was so good. It was so fun. He was writing it, and the whole time I was like, so I'm gonna sing, right? I get to be the lead in this, right? Ricky, you're gonna put me in the show, right? And
it was great. So yeah, the Halloweens have always kind of gotten out of hand for us, and then we moved to New York, and we couldn't really do them right away. Although we still the first Stop the Presses show officially in New York was a Halloween show also. So the first
through a house party.
Yeah, the first
our buds rooftop terrace.
Yeah, so the first Stop the Presses show ever 10 years ago was a house party, Halloween party, and then in New York as well. And now, our COVID band session, our first COVID band session will be full band session will be on Halloween.
Halloween, what a year, huh?
Is there a video of that musical floating around anywhere?
No.
Oh, so there's not even a record of it?
There is a record of the last dress rehearsal, and there are photos of it, but through a collection of horrible circumstances, the videographer who recorded it sent me video with no audio tracks, and then something happened that he couldn't get it to me ever. They didn't work out, and then a couple of people who had recorded it in the room, one their phone got lost, and the other person deleted it from their camera, thinking that they had it somewhere else. It was just 3 for 3, worst luck in the world, so it doesn't exist in its final.
I know. Yeah.
Tough luck.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the music and stuff. We have it recorded. We should honestly retouch it and stuff like that. But anyway.
Someday.
Yeah, it's fun. A friend of ours.
A side hustle.
One day when you
I love Broadway musicals. So like
Sure.
all of that sounds fantastic.
Danny,
Cheers,
Danny
man.
loves
Yeah, I'm
musicals.
huge. I love musical
his
theater. I
thing.
love theater in general, but I love musical theater.
Yeah, I was like, I was 2 classes shy of a theater minor.
Oh, dude.
That's awesome.
There's still time, man. There's still time. Go back and
Right.
get it now.
Oh, once you stop going to school, there's no going back. I don't want to do
Also-
any more homework.
Lord knows how long it'll be until that's
October is always the busiest
Hope
month
so.
for ska bands.
Got a little.
right.
So like I've always, for some reason there's a cover set I need to learn, about half a dozen gigs between 2 or 3 projects, and of course this is like the beginning of like the holiday show season too. Like
Right.
it kicks off with World Inferno doing Hollow Mass in New York City, in Brooklyn. I guess it'll be a little bit different this year. 'Cause
I just saw Meltzer today.
yeah, that would be his baby. Although I'm not sure what they're doing this year because of course nobody can get together. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know, this is interesting times. I mean, it's crazy. Like I had no idea you guys have been going on for 10 years, but that's incredible. I'm glad. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Moving to New York was 2 years of that was just like New York kicks the shit out of you. You gotta like really level up to New York. Like no lie, straight up.
Yeah.
You have to level up to New York.
We had to
from-
like get our lives
even
together.
from Miami, because like I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, it's like, dude, yeah, I'm not from New York, but I'm not from Nebraska. But like even from Miami to New York is a push, dude. You
It's
gotta
just
get up.
faster.
Yeah.
It's like faster. It's harder. You know what I mean? We're pretty lax in Florida, Florida kids. But anyway, 10 years. It feels crazy, and we're celebrating. We've got we've got this album of music from even before a decade ago. We were in another band together. That's like how we met and everything. Was this our first band called Only Right Left. And we came across the record the other day. We never released it before. Like things just kind of happened with the band. It fell apart, and we just have this album. And so we talked with the old members, and we're gonna release a few of those old tunes also to celebrate
Very cool.
the decade. And so you'll see the very early beginnings of Stop the Presses. It still sounds like us. Like it's still us. It's still me and Danny. It's just that band didn't really have a genre. It was just a mishmash of crazy kids writing whatever they wanted to write. So it's kind of like surf and punk, and there's ska, but there's polka, and
That's awesome.
it's some wacky,
kitchen
some
sink,
wacky
yeah.
stuff, pretty much. And so I think it'll be fun. I don't know. I'm really excited to put it out there into the world, and that'll be a nice way to celebrate the end of our decade, and then we just. We're looking to 2021 and 2021. That's
A lot of
we
twos
gotta
in
get
there.
used to saying that. Just
Right?
practicing tonight. But anyway,
Can't get here soon enough.
right. I'm ready. But anyway, we want to we're gonna release new music in January. So this is the end of this chapter and starting of anew, and hopefully we're all gonna start anew with a better life and country.
But it seems like the lockdown hasn't really slowed you guys down too much. We've been following a lot of live streaming concerts, and your name is consistently on a lot of them. I know you played Chris's pandemic show. You've also played the Sweet Girls of Ska Fest. You guys were on the ISO Fest. I'm sure I'm probably missing a couple, but how's that transition going to these digital platforms?
I mean, I will say that Danny and I are used to playing together already. We already kind of had a little hustle going on in the city.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you can pandemic with a band member, do it.
And just out of our own boredom, because we were supposed to go on tour, we lost our tour.
Now at this point too, because we were supposed to
Two.
be out over the summer also.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
So we had all this time planned off, and it was like, all right, let's rearrange some stuff. Let's write some music. We're gonna X this idea of touring. It
Yeah.
sucks because like we had the bus all like outfitted and ready. Like we've invested a lot in our baby Dolly. Our RV that we tour in. And and it was like, all right, we can't use this thing now.
Yeah.
So
I was like, we were set, we were ready to go, and plans change. I mean, fortunately, not fortunately, I lost my job. Ali was able to continue to work through all of it. So we had time to take on new adventures. Playing together is the easiest part of it. The ones that we were doing, just the acoustic and accordion, were super fun. Those were great because we can really just like, all right, let's practice a little bit and then record a few, see how it goes, and that's always the ton. That's where the magic happens. But then we took on doing the videos and getting our band to give us stuff, and learning to mix video and audio kind of on the fly. I mean, we've kind of demoed our stuff for a while already, and I'm more comfortable with audio, but we had to get Final Cut and learn how to really go through stuff, and and learn to use like OBS or Ecamm and like all these extra things that are now just part of it. That was another, once again, level up. We were fortunate to have the time and energy to do some of it. I still feel like we didn't even match some other people's output. We were talking about it today, like the Slackers just like managed to somehow like rise to the top of the live stream world immediately. Good on them, dude. It's super, super dope. But thank you. Yeah, like we tried very hard to stay busy and have fun with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, yeah, you guys sort of went all in with, the RV and everything. I remember out on the road last year, seeing like bunk space full for like 6-7 people.
Yeah, 7.
You got all the gear and everything, and the generator and like the whole thing. And I remember you telling me like, oh yeah, it doesn't have AC. And I was like, oh, true road warriors. That's like really roughing it.
Yeah.
It's like
the dash AC works, so the driver and the immediate passenger get like that nice like coolness on you, but yeah, it's like really hard to keep the air conditioner running while it's driving.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, when you park it, you can like because you have the generator, but you just like you can't leave it on while you're driving,
No, of course not. But it's interesting, if nothing else that this pandemic has done is sort of force people to sort of get out of their their bubbles a little bit. There are going to be, I think, the next generation of people making music videos. I think a lot of them are going to have people who've started, picked up the skills just in this last year, going forward. Like, I mean, I look at somebody like Josh from Backyard Superheroes, who started with the MPC project. Yeah. And he just started editing these massive videos with 50, 60 people in each song and stuff like that. And it's just sort of like one of those things where, he just, again, out of sheer boredom, I think, just because he had, nothing else going on. So what can I do? Well, this is always something I wanted to do. Let me learn how to, to use video editing software. I mean, it's one of the things I'm supremely jealous about, for all the people that were able to find that free time during the pandemic. Because, I, like Ali, I guess I was working through the entire thing. And in many ways, my job it didn't get, any easier doing it from home. If anything, it just took longer because, it's like sort of like I use the analogy like building a model ship and then building a model ship inside of a bottle, because everything is shrunk down to this tiny little computer screen as opposed to being in a setting where everything's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough of it. Get back to you guys.
Well, I will say that like if it's even hard for me to believe that I was like teaching my own studio and working in Connecticut. I had a school job and I lost the school job. Yeah, I was an accompanist for choir, at a private school, and I lost that job. So immediately, like, I was still teaching lessons, and now I'm busy. I'm in lessons again. But yeah, the weekends used to be full of us playing shows, doing weekend things. You know what I mean? Like we were already like trying to, get our lives, ready so that we can be touring all the time, playing shows all the time. And so yeah, then this hit, and it was like, all right, so now we're gonna try and move our entire lives to this screen. And I gotta say, it's hard because like Chris, like my life is like in front of a phone all day long or a computer screen. But you gotta make the best of it, you know?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So that's been cool. I mean, I gotta say, doing all the collabs and stuff, I got to do a collab with NPC. With Josh, I did the Superman. I have a little cameo in that. And then I'm doing the next one with them. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not, honestly.
Sorry, I'm going to say it's Fight for Your Right to Party, I think.
Not that
No?
one. I'm in the Bad Reputation. I'm doing Bad Reputation. Whatever.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I want to jump on that. So anyway, I did, that, and then I got to do a couple other collabs too. I did one with the Classy Rex, and I did Chris Murray. I did Shades and Weiser Rude, which was like an honor, I love Chris Murray's music. It's so great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm sorry, my dogs are like playing. Hey.
Yeah, there.
Get in the other room. They're playing.
Sorry about that. Anyway.
No worries. The reason we kind of got you guys on is we heard that you guys have some new music coming out, or at least a new album. How did you guys come up with the idea for the next step?
It was a dub of the what's called the Money in the Bank album, was it? Or isn't
Right.
it? Sorry.
It's dubs from Money in the Bank from 2019.
Which I'm just going to interject for a second. I love
Sure.
that album. It's so good.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like we love that album also. It's very dope. It was very cool working with Jay for all of it. Jay strikes the right balance of having a subtle hand, slow hand on the controls. He really lets you have your vision of it, but it's just like knowledge. And then like he'll hey, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm thinking, and if you're about it, it's great, and if you're not, cool. We'll see where it ends up. It was never really like a feeling of like either he's doing too much or he's not doing enough. It was just like I absolutely loved it. And then even Money in the Bank kind of started at first with us hearing or knowing that Jay did dubs of other people's stuff, and we're like, oh, eventually we got to get Jay to dub something. That'll be so great. and then Money in the Bank came out, and it was like, all right, so now let's get Jay to dub Jay. And he's dope. And we asked him like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to dub? And he was like, Hugo Presses. That's it. Like took no time for him to answer. Hugo Presses. I want to do those. And dude, I mean, he gave us like 2 mixes of each. He was like, hey, this is my first pass. This is my second pass. What do you think? I was like, yeah, dude, these are super dope. I don't know if that's just what he showed me. Maybe he spent like, hours and days toiling over it, but if it's amazing. We just really loved how he did it.
Did you guys put a lot of input into how the dub came out? Or was it just like you handed it over to him and he did his thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I mean, we trust him, you know what I mean? And there was maybe
and Money in the Bank, like there's in Rude Skank and like and So Good, there's already like kind of dubby sections in those, and Hugo also. And like even when we asked him in those places to like, like let's have like this weird little moment, we like really kind of let it up to him. And so then doing the dubs, like asking him to do them, we really just wanted to hear his version of it, so I don't think I don't think
we ever had like any specific notes for it. They came back so right and so rad. There was maybe just like a couple of things of like, hey, include this call out, not this call out. Maybe 1 or 2 of those. He just really knows it well.
Yeah, a lot of it was really great.
Well, it's good to be kind of into it. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's funny. One of my bands worked with Jay on a record before. I used to be in this band, the Rudy Crew, and he did a bunch of dubs at the end of their last record. This is Spraga, but it was by the time he finally got his hands in the mix, I was out of the project at that point. But I've worked with other engineers, that have done dub projects, like Spanish being Caricatura did one of their songs, Suitcase. Victor Rice took a hand at it, and it's kind of interesting the way to watch some of those engineers work at doing dubs, especially like live dubs, like Victor Rice likes to do. It's kind of like watching someone use like their studio console as an instrument, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's why you can have like 3 or 4 different passes at a song, and each one is its own creation, its own mix. And, typically I think, and this is just me guessing, it starts off with sort of like an idea. Like, all right, this one I want to do, like, for example, with Caricatura, they did, 4 different passes for this one tune. And I said, all right, well, this is the one with the vocals untouched and just, messing around with the different stuff for all the different tracks in the song. Another one was, just specific call outs, like you mentioned before, like Jay chose on the Hugo presses. But again, just like he's just highlighting certain words and just sort of, giving them special significance. And it's like I said, it's more of a rough art form than it is, a strict science. I mean, I'm sure there are people that do it differently that, literally have it marked down on the paper, like this word comes in at this time. But I think a lot of it just, just you sort of let, the people that experience do their thing and just, magic happens. At least that's as far as I know anyway, being on the other end of the box.
Did you guys go to the Scientist show at Brooklyn Bowl last year, 2018, 2019? I don't remember what year it was now.
I wanted to go, but I missed it, unfortunately. I don't get to go to a lot of shows that I'm not playing, or at least I didn't for a while just because I was so busy.
Dude,
now there's no more shows.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering, it was not great.
No,
it was not great, but that's why I was wondering, because I was so excited to see him. And it was I love Scientist. I think he's like a force unto himself. And it was just really lackluster and like, I don't know, uninteresting or that uninspired. When we saw him, it was just kind of blah. I don't know how much more to explain it. Like, he had a computer and he had some young dude like just like pushing, like loading the tracks on the computer, and then he was standing in front of a console that was like just set up on a picnic table, like like folding legs table on the stage at Brooklyn Bowl. And it was, and then like somebody would come on and feature a few songs, and I just like all the features were really interesting. Cooley went up there on one of them.
So Maddie.
And Maddie,
Maddie
Ruthless was there. A couple of other people.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah,
but
fun.
He just like didn't do anything.
I think they were having sound issues.
I don't know what it was, but it was like, ugh.
Well,
there's a video of like Jay doing, I think, presses somewhere floating around on Facebook. I don't know, I haven't gotten it. I need to go and like take that actually, but and like even just
if you find that link, email it to me and I'll make sure we plaster it up here.
All right. I gotta look for it. Gotta go deep in the archives. But yeah, like, and I have video of him too, like from Money in the Bank, like just riding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Space Echo.
And like it's just a vibe, Like I think that you got to be in the right spot, and feeling your tune, and I don't know. It was fun. It was fun watching him work and stuff. I just really love the dub. Revolution Vintage put it out for us, the 7-inch, the A and B side for Hugo Dub and Dub the Presses, and it sold out, and so we are elated. It is very exciting.
That's awesome.
How many did you guys have made, just out of curiosity?
I'm not quite sure the number, but I'm just glad that it sold out.
Sorry, like a small batch kind of thing.
It was originally supposed to be like 25, and we accidentally oversold one because we had it up on Bandcamp and our website and his website, and it was like, all right, I think we're sold out. Wait, oh shit, there's another one. And then I was like, all right, fine. We're gonna order one more batch, and then I'm gonna take it off of my website, and we'll just say that the last ones are on your thing. So I think we ended up at like 30 or 25 or 30 pressings, I think.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's what's called, it's an interesting format, because it's not like a pressed record. It's like a stamped record. Right. It's like a lathe cut piece of plastic.
It's super dope. They like have they have less playability, longevity over time, but
Yeah.
it's like, it's a 45 collection. You're not gonna play it every
Yeah.
single day.
No, it's a limited thing you're doing because it's a cool thing to do.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Exactly.
there was this one record store I found up in Montreal when I was first studying Lonely Adam, and we came up with the idea of doing, like, they offered the same kind of idea, but they said, oh, you can do your own picture discs for, like, $20 a disc or whatever have you. And for, a 7-inch record for, a band that's just starting out, it's not really financially feasible to do that, even though it was Canadian dollars. So it was a little cheaper than, $20 US.
Right.
But it was one of those things, like, for like a Kickstarter award, it was perfect because it's like, all right, well, people pledge $50, then they get this thing. We can afford to spend what's effectively $15 on our award, which is like a cool little picture disc thing. But yeah, I mean,
Word.
the fidelity is a little bit different, but it's it's a cool little thing. It's
Exactly.
Also, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really smart for Sammy, like hitting the commodity market. You know what I mean? Like records having this inherent value, and to make short run records is even more like, all right, boop, that's it. That's what you got. I think that's really dope. I was joking today with Meltzer. I was like, I wish I could have gotten some more for myself, but but we get what we get.
all right. There's always the next one,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It'll be cool.
So,
yeah.
yes, no, I was gonna say, Keith, you got the itinerary here because my phone just died. So
No worries.
I'm off script.
So, I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier, but like, what do you guys, like, in a realistic way, if this was, like, if we weren't in the situation, what would you guys be doing right now? Like, what would be the next step for Stop the Presses?
Honestly, what we're doing right now, like after the summer tour, like after spring, after summer tour, this is kind of the period where we use to write and record anyway. Because like then into winter, you know what I mean? Like you can't really do much touring.
We've been
when it's
locked up that
cold.
long.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, you guys are in New York, so I mean, it is like here in Rhode Island, like winter, you can't really book a show because you never know when a snowstorm's going to come through and cancel it, and like it's hard to plan things in the winter.
exactly. And so like I feel like we already had the mindset of like this was when we were going to start doing recording. And so that's what we're doing right now is we're just like doing that, getting ready to record. It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because you start to run up against, like, just for perspective of a New York band, like I mentioned before, like the holiday shows start coming. Like it seems like, you have all this time, but then when you get into October, it's like, all right, well then there's Halloween. All right, there's Skanksgiving in New Jersey and, at the end of, November. And then there's all the holiday shows between Hometown Throwdown and Boston. Bouncing Souls have their thing. I mean, for a touring band, it's like all these mines that you sort of have to navigate around and try and stay with because those things just suck in so many people that, it really doesn't make sense to be on the road and competing with them, unfortunately. But
I mean, even along those lines, there's only like so many places even that you can get to easily enough in the winter.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's kind of like a little bit of both. We've played in Connecticut and Maine in both in like December, January, and dude, they were good shows.
Yeah.
People.
What's the driving like in Maine in January?
Scary AF.
Oh,
Scary AF, man. Lots of highways. Don't go on local roads.
Yep.
Yeah, we went to Montreal last January.
Yeah.
That was like because we wanted to go there before Pouzza Fest, which was canceled. Which we were gonna play for first year. But anyway, it was still great though. It was so cold, it was freezing. But people still came out. It's like that's normal life. So we just
Where'd you guys play up there? Was it Catacombs or one of
the trackside?
Okay.
It was a female-run venue, underground music venue, punk rock music venue, and it was incredible. I love that place.
Very cool.
No address online is like a thing. Legit. It was like an old school punk show. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
It was dope. Yeah, a ton of kids were there. It was freaking great.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Were you guys like the headliners on that show?
Yeah, I think actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it
We
was
were.
us, and then there was like an old school band that's like been around forever in Montreal. That was like,
Right.
like the old school punk band of the town.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and there was another ska band too. That I don't recall at the moment.
I'm surprised. You always remember.
I do, but I think it was in French. It's hard. French is hard for me. I know Spanish. I don't know French. That one's tough for me to remember. Danny's the one who's like the translator for
Ish.
for French and for everything. He's my translator.
So with that Spanish, is that how you guys were able to get into that the Sweet Girls of Ska Fest?
They kind of like reached out to us.
Oh, even better.
And,
That's cool.
Yeah, and definitely being knowing Spanish, it helps the communication. And I mean when I say knowing, like I speak like very very basic. I'm not Latina. Danny is Cuban.
I'm Cuban, B.
So and then also I lived in Miami for like 10 years. I'm from South Florida, but I'm just from I'm from West Palm Beach, which is like Mar-a-Lago, like Palm Beach, Trump land. So I moved to Miami and I lived there for 10 years. And then I'm married into a Cuban family. So I've learned a lot of Spanish throughout the years.
That's awesome.
I love it. I know, I miss it very much. We don't really speak it here and speak Spanish here in New York. I mean, we do with our Miami friends a little, barely even. But like
And when I go to Queens or the Bronx.
Yeah. But yeah, not in Brooklyn, No.
Stuff comes in handy every once in a while. The odd interaction here or there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it does come in handy.
Yeah. So like obviously I knew you guys before you were on the Sweet Ska Fest, but man, they pulled in some crazy good bands. So like I
Dude,
was
seriously.
like that festival, I watched almost all of it. I was glued to my phone.
Yeah,
in the
man.
corner, keeping the music low for my wife,
I agree. We were actually very, very blown away by a lot of the performances on our day. We watched a lot of our day, and like some select performances here and there. On top of that, it was awesome. Even the video qualities of some of what like the people did, like some of the ideas behind it all. I mean, it's like it's like all that kind of stuff. But dude, there's just so much out there. You have no idea.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Peru, who knew? So many ska bands.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Numbers and like interesting, varied styles. And like, I don't know. I'm all about it. Super dope.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I do every week is, I research new ska bands for that playlist that are on Spotify. And just, one of the things I can always count on, I'm always going to find some band from outside the US that nobody's going to have heard of before. Like today I listened to a band from the Philippines called Zicento, I think, or Ziciento. And it was just, sounds like, this guy you'd hear anywhere else. I mean, except it was, not in English. And that's, I think that seems like for some reason that people can't get past that. For me, it's never really been about, I was always a melody first person before I was, before I really lock into lyrics. But, for me, ska,
a horn player, you don't say.
Yeah. But that's like sort of been my experience is that you can always find some band overlooked somewhere, and I've been doing it. I think we're up to like 370 bands now from all over the world, and that's the thing. I know I won't I can't say nobody's gonna have heard of any of the bands I had every week, but there's always at least one or two. Or you'll find like maybe 100 or 150 out of the 300 that you've never heard of before, and it just always astounds me that there's all these developed scenes that have risen and fallen that just people don't know about because not to be mean about it, but most Americans don't really look past their own borders for ska music, which is disappointing because there's so much awesome music
Americans
out there.
don't look past their own fucking county for ska music.
That yeah. Very true.
I'm from a very small state, so like some of your counties are probably as big as my state.
Yeah. Trade true. You guys import a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Ali's whole family's from Rhode Island.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Ali's Greek side is all out
They're
there.
all from Cranston.
Cranston.
Oh,
And-
I'm right
and
on
Warwick.
I'm right on the Cranston Coventry line. I'm out in the woods, but
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Yep.
I mean, even Rhode Island. I mean, if you want to break it down by state, there are a lot of bands from Rhode Island that I don't think a lot of people have heard of. Bands like, the Agents, Lemon Lime Tennis Shoes.
Are they from Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Huh.
There used to be this band called M80 who are now playing.
they
Oh
do
my
it
God.
awesome.
Yeah,
They
dude.
was now they're
from
band
Rhode
you might have
Island?
heard called- yeah. Now they're a band you might have heard of called Badfish, who are making more money than the actual Sublime, which is so that blows
We
my
know
mind.
Badfish.
We opened for
Played with
Badfish in
Badfish
Florida
in
like
Florida.
twice.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And to drop some old school Rhode Island ska knowledge on you, before M80, I think they were at a band called Beer Goggles, weren't they? Or Racquetball, sorry, Racquetball. Is a
Racquetball,
song called
yeah.
Beer Goggles.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know much, but I know lots of obscure ska knowledge. Facts. Bands that nobody else has heard of or cares
Yay.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the first times I ever heard of you guys, you just happened to be wearing that shirt, is you guys played with the Hempsteadies at an arcade bar in Providence.
That was
That
dope.
was rad.
And
With
I dragged my
Sammy.
With Sammy
With
K.
Sammy.
yes,
Yes.
yep. I dragged my friend kicking and screaming. He's not like a big ska fan, but I was like, the Hempsteadies are awesome. You're gonna love them. And
Dude,
then
and
like,
those games are free there, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was
Yep.
like that was a really great bar.
so like me and him are upstairs playing NBA Jam, and you guys came on, and I'm like, no, forget NBA Jam. I gotta see what's going on down there.
Oh,
And
cheers, man.
Even him, he was like, he told me afterwards, he's like, I don't really like ska, but those two bands, the Hempsteadies and you guys, were like, he changed his mind. So
Nice.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
If I can give you another little pat on the back,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That was a fun show.
That was a great show.
That was
fun.
an awesome show.
Yeah.
It was
that place so
rainy that
small,
night.
and that you guys
Yeah.
just carried all the energy. Like, oh, it was-
It was great.
It was dope.
It was a good night. Yeah, I love these guys too. I love playing with the Hempsteadies. We've played with them a bunch of times already on Halloween. Actually,
Nice.
we played with them on Halloween once
In
in New
Connecticut.
London. Yeah,
in New London.
right. Yeah, and that was so much fun. But then also like last year in the city in New York City we did, and
Yeah, with autos with them.
they're an awesome. They're so epic. Like
they are. They
they really are. I love
got a
watching
lot
them.
going on.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
I was just saying, I don't get down to New York that much or enough, but I guess they played Autos, and I didn't even know about it. So
Yeah,
I'm
they
out of
played
the- I'm
autos.
out of the loop.
That was right. That was the close of our tour that we overlapped.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't.
Last summer,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right, guys. I don't want to keep you too late, but we really do appreciate you guys coming on. I mean, this has been
Oh.
super cool.
Thank you so much for having
Dude,
us. We
yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
No
You guys
problem.
are super awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe once the new album comes out, we can get you guys to come back on and talk a
Oh.
little more.
Absolutely.
That'd be
Absolutely,
awesome.
dudes.
In the
Uh,
meantime, do you guys want to tell everyone where they can find your newest release, the dub mixes of Money in the Bank? Do you guys have it online anywhere? Where can people find it?
They can find it on Bandcamp. And
you go.
at the end of the month, we're going to be putting it on streaming services as well.
Mhm.
And to stay tuned, follow us on Instagram, Stop the Presses Music, on Twitter, Stop Presses, Facebook, Stop the Presses Music. Follow us on all of those because we'll also be making announcements when we release the old archives of Stop the Presses,
The rarities.
the rarities.
With some more 80s new wave love, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, like the first 80s new wave love, I should say, I guess, because it's like 11 years ago. It's,
What?
yeah, because Oingo's now, we do Dead Man's Party now, and so this is coming out next, but really we recorded it first.
That was
Yes.
actually one of my favorite things that you guys do. I'm a huge Oingo Boingo fan, and I loved seeing you guys do that live in Ohio last year.
Oh,
That's
thank
fantastic.
you.
Thank you,
We
man.
love Elfman.
It's
Hail
it's
the
a lot of
Elfman.
music, yeah, dude. Danny
Danny
Elfman,
Elfman.
dude. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
We are huge. We follow him on Instagram and all the fan sites as well. We're into it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so okay, did Bandcamp, southpressesmusic.bandcamp.com also has the digital versions of the dubs and our whole discography, merch. You can also find all of that on pressesmusic.com. So yeah, I think I said everything. Hopefully.
All right.
There's a YouTube channel too. Like and subscribe.
Well,
But thank you guys.
We'll put it up there somewhere.
Yes, thank you. I know I'm being funny.
All the details.
I'm like loopy right now. I'm sorry. Anyway,
That's
but
fine.
thank you folks so much for having us. We're very, very happy to be on.
Oh,
here.
no problem. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.